So let's say this was a grand experiment that humanity was going through globally on the entire planet, the entire species, installed here artificially, the artificial matrix, overlaid the organic matrix of life. Let's say it was an experiment on how far humanity will be capable of abandoning their own soul, forgetting their own origin, betraying their own soul for material gain, external validation. And where we find ourselves now is this forgetfulness, where we are completely in this amnesia, trying to wake up from it. But there's lots and lots of programs installed here through the astral realm, false light programming, psyops, hijacking consciousness. Still, it's like everything, all the tricks were allowed to try and capture our consciousness away from the soul essence. And the soul essence is our creativity. It's how alive we are, how much we co-create with life, with the organic web of life. How we abandoned that which was the calling of our own soul through our own hearts, the passion that ignites that flame of life within us, in order to slowly get more and more enslaved by the system. So what we're seeing right now is that there is the collapse of the system that we're facing, but it's becoming more and more difficult for us to sustain ourselves within the system. There's lots of exploitation through capitalism. Communism is also hive mind, it's the same thing. It's devoid of creativity. Giving up your individual expression, because we are one, but we are also individual expressions. And the mother source explores herself through us. And that's the freedom coming from that liberation. For her to do that, she's already inside of us. So it's becoming more and more difficult to survive in this system, in order to force us to go back to the soul and not stop playing out these scripts handed out to us, where we are inauthentic, where we have to play these roles and basically be our false self, playing out the false self for the external validation and for material gain, to be accepted by a sick society that's just pretending everything is okay. That false self is what is the AI false timeline, where through the mind they try to hijack your consciousness so that you just replay games in metaverse, basically. And it will be devoid of that divine spark, devoid of your unique heart, soul coding, devoid of creativity, devoid of life force itself, and devoid of love and true oneness. So now that we're going to be going into more and more technology, and AI will be taking most of these jobs, it turns out that people were studying, indoctrinating themselves through the system for jobs that will not even exist anymore. This calculated rationality How am I gonna extract money from the system? Who do I have to play instead of being moved from the soul inward, from the real spiritual impulse that we need to be evolving towards? Real one, not the false ascension, which is again taking your consciousness away from the feminine aspect, away from the body, away from nature, and away from that creativity. So we're literally facing technology taking over our creativity, dumbing us down and numbing us out of our own spark, our own life force, feeling emotion, all that which makes us human, in order to create everything for us. Okay, so how far on an individual level you've allowed yourself for your creativity to be hijacked, to leave your soul, abandon yourself, the true self, and into total forgetfulness, because the more you pretend you're somebody else, the more you're stuck at these jobs, at these boxed cube false realities where you cannot be your authentic self, where you cannot speak up, stand in your truth, create your own from your own joy, your own passion, and all that. The more you've done that in your human experience of this life, the more you've allowed yourself to forget what your true essence is. So that's how humanity throughout ages forgot in the first place. So now you have people who don't even know what is their human design, what is their passion, what is it that they, as divine children, as when they were children, what was the individual spark and their divine destiny to live, because they took that road of every day choosing to forget the soul. And the soul impulse was mocked. It was the whole programming, whether it's you're too ugly, too old, too stupid, too it's unproductive, you have to do the hustle, you have to do the grind, you have to basically ignore your soul and be as productive to the system as you possibly can, pretend you're a perfect robot, pretty much, in order to be rewarded in that system, to make any money. Otherwise, you're a problem. Your soul was a problem, right? And anybody who embodied a soulful energy was also a problem. It was projected on that person. So the new currency will be how much you've allowed your soul to guide you, you've allowed your life force and your creativity to, how much you kept it as a flame holder, flame of life holder, and how much was genuine behind the scenes, not for show, not for validation. That's gonna be, people are gonna start to see through it when something is empty and devoid of real energy, when it's only through the mind and intellect and rationality, compared to where there's real energy behind it. And now that the machines are gonna be doing the loops for us, what is humanity or each individual gonna be left with, really, right? So for me, the dance is the highest form of a liberated soul, the highest form, because you're there creative and free and spontaneous, and you're in the moment, and you dance really your soul out, not for the external. Not that you don't need this performance anymore to gain that validation or those likes. This is not what it's about. Now we're going back. This was a reversed, right? Extracting energy from the outside. Now we're going back to being in our own fullness, what nourishes our from inside out, how we are overflowing with that creativity, especially for women, right? Just like the source itself was an emanation, it was overflowing. to express itself. Thank you.